appeared for CAT 2023 in November this year. So just a brief background. I am a computer science engineer from IIT Hyderabad, and CAT was a transition for me from engineering to management, and I took a hiatus in between for preparing for UPSC. So I have some experience of the like three major competitive exams this country has: the JEE, UPSC, and CAT as well. So yeah, when we talk about CAT in specific, what I found unique in CAT was that it's not a leveler exam. Everybody is starting from different places. There are some engineering students who would have a field day with CAT, a field day with quants. Then there would be some lifelong puzzlers who are used to solving those morning Sudoku puzzles. They would have a good time with LRDI. They'll enjoy that a lot. And then there are some geeks, the reading geeks, who had started Harry Potter right from class 1 or 2. So they'll probably have a good time with VRC. So it's very important to identify your initial position, where exactly you stand in the three sections. And how to do that is like the number one rule of mocks. So the number one rule of CAT, which is giving mocks. I would say even if you have started your preparation yesterday, you should still appear for a mock today and start your discovering yourself journey so that you exactly know in how much water you stand. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you score 20, 30 or whatever marks. What is important is you develop a habit of giving mocks. So yeah, I can talk a lot more about how to analyze mocks, and there are good strategies of how to do that. So do ping me or do raise a query in the chat box if you would like me to drill down in any of the aspects. So we'll take up the three sections one at a time so that the approach remains structured. So yeah, first section, VRC. Like one thing with VRC is I know a lot of people whose actual exam got a bit messed up because of VRC, because it's the first section. So all the nerves, all the jitters, they are reflected in the initial 5-10 minutes, and they have a good potential of sabotaging your first or second RC. So yeah, while doing VRC, always remember that having a calm and consciously telling yourself that yeah, it's fine. Things are going to be all right. I have two sections after this, even if this one goes a bit shoddy. So yeah, keeping the calm in VRC especially is very important. So one thing that helped me a lot in VRC was active reading. So what active reading is, you don't just simply start from word 1 and keep reading till the last word. You have to stop at every paragraph. Let's say a single RC has 4 paragraphs. So you should stop at every paragraph and ask yourself, what did I just read? It has to be an active conversation between you and the author. So you should be asking the author questions like, so why author? Why are you taking my time? Why did you write this line? Or engage in argument with him, for example, him or her. For example, if the person writes an article saying climate change is not real, so the author would give some points to that. You should think in your head and have a conversation. Like, is what this person saying relevant? Is what this person saying, does it make sense or not? So once you start to do active reading, then you would never have to go back to the passage and check for each and every option of every single question. So a way to do this is one thing, like I said, like engaging in conversations. And the second thing would be writing gist of every passage. Just take a 5-second gap after reading a paragraph and then get the structure in your head. Like, what did I just read? What was a 10-word gist of this entire 50-word paragraph? So keep doing this. Keep this active reading thing, even if it takes you 15 minutes to do a single RC right now. It doesn't matter. Once you build a habit of it, then all of this will happen subconsciously. So this is one thing that really helped me. Yeah, and then another thing is the time crunch is a big issue in VRC, uh, and it's difficult to get all the 24 questions solved. So what I would suggest is after some due practice, like after giving mocks for a month or two, start identifying your weak links. For example, in my case, paragraph summary was always a weak link. The options were too close, and it took a lot of time in uh, differentiating the little bit of difference that was in the options. It used to seem like finding Waldo, if you guys remember, or something like there were something like getting two photographs and then being asked to identify what the difference between them is. So it was a bit difficult for me, but it's easier for other people. RCs were my strength, so I used to make sure that I attempt all the 16 questions of RCs in every single mock, and like more or less this used to happen. So yeah, these are broad pointers for VRC. Now, so yeah, and one minor suggestion is
Hi, can I ask something?
Yeah, Akshay, sure, go ahead.
So I wanted to understand your strategy with respect to vocabulary. There are a lot of vocabulary-based questions also, right? So what is your strategy to, excel in that?
So I think some people would recommend you to read Ren and Martin or some other. There's a small read how to build a vocabulary book or something like that. I tried to do that, but that doesn't work for me. That seems like a very dry approach. So what is helpful is go for diverse reading. There are online essays available on platforms like Eon and like New York Times or whatever. So just develop a habit of casual reading. Wake up in the morning and give half an hour to reading, and just highlight the words that do not make sense to you or those are new to you. Don't try to catch the meanings of them immediately. Just highlight them and try to make sense of what it means by the surrounding context or surrounding words, because you won't get that luxury of identifying the words you don't know in the actual exam. So just mark them, and after going through the whole passage, check the meanings later and see how close you were with your intelligent guessing. So this is how I would say, in fancy words, this is called reverse engineering. So that is how I would recommend to build vocabulary. Just have a highlighter, mark those words which you don't know, and check them later on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no issues. Yeah, Shubkriti,
Okay.
go ahead.
Firstly, thank you for coming over and talking to us.
Sure.
So for VARC, I had to ask, so since it's the first section and all the nerves and everything you talked about, so is it like, did you first see all 24 questions, or did you like first only see the RCs and chose what RCs you have to do and then you moved on to the other verbal section, or like how did you go about selecting the questions that you chose?
So as I told you, like I had made a target that I had to do all the 4 RCs. So it didn't matter in what order I picked them. Mota what I considered was 8 minutes for each RC, and I would check the time when 20 minutes were left. During that time, as a thumb rule, I would have to be on the 4th RC by that time, otherwise I would be lagging. So create these broad checkpoints. For example, if you start with the VA section, after when 30 minutes are left, then you should have an alert saying कि ठीक है बहुत सारा time दे दिया PA part को, now maybe time to do an RC. So keep in between. I had another strategy wherein I used to do 2 RCs, and then I used to get tired and had moved on to VA section, did a few parajumble and something, and then came back to RCs. So keep trying any potential permutations and combinations you want, and
Yeah,
it would eventually you would eventually find your sweet spot in a few months if you keep following the rule number 1, which is keep
Yeah.
giving.
Yeah, because I was confused, like, because if we see the RC questions first, so I didn't know that if it is going to be like only focusing on RC and I see the RC question first, or if I see the entire section, entire VRC, all 24 questions, and then choose what I have to do. So that is why I couldn't get to know that which is a better way, but I figured from your way that I have to actually try and see what works for me.
Exactly, because the thing is, sometimes you would see an RC and it would appear difficult to you because of some heavy terminology that they use in the passage.
Right.
But to find out that the questions were dead easy. they had no relation to the complicated thought paradigms that had been introduced in the RC. And sometimes the RC is very easy and questions are so complicated. They'll have those triple negatives and whatnot. So you can never judge an RC just by the first look. So selecting an RC never made sense to me. I mean, there are always different strategies for different people, but I feel RC is passage plus the questions, not only passage or not just the questions. So it has to be seen in a holistic way in its entirety.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no issues.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So, isn't like reading something, or is it important? Like, can we not just practice RCs and all of that, because we have a lot in our hands as it is? So, wouldn't that be adding on to it?
Yeah, Pariti, the thing is, if you have a source which gives you 2 or 3 or 4 RCs every day, then it is good. Then you can go ahead and do that. But the thing is that a CAT RC is always, it's not given it in its entire form. It is cut and some changes have been done to make it compact. So
Okay.
you won't develop that whole flow of how an argument is built or how it's reached to its conclusion. You'll see they'll sometimes pick up an RC in between and then end in between also. So you won't get that mature sense of understanding without going through the entire essays and entire articles. So both have to be done. Neither of them can substitute each other.
And regarding the Times newspaper as well, like it is important because it is.
Yeah, newspaper, I think you can read just the editorial and the opinion section. It's just a single page of Hindu or any other Indian Express article. So instead of time, keep a target of how many essays or paragraphs you're reading. So like I mentioned earlier, a 30 minutes reading which covers 2 essays is good enough. For the fancy word for this is eclectic reading. What it means is you should read diversely. For example, you shouldn't have a notion that अगर कोई biology का paragraph आ गया या ऐसे आ गया तो मैं नहीं करूंगी, या फिर कुछ history का आ गया तो मैं नहीं करूंगी, क्योंकि ऐसे broad generalizations बनाने से you are missing on the easy questions जो बैठे हुए हैं आगे. तो reading का only point is कि you should not be scared of any topic or any particular arena. You should be comfortable with whatever comes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no issues. So I'll move to the DLR section next, which used to haunt me the most. Like this was the most horrible thing, and I have had mocks where I've scored single-digit marks in like many of the mocks. So yeah, special focus needs to be done in that, and I think nobody is great at DLR from the word go. It is all about practice, all about patience, and a lot about strategy too. So the first thing I would say is that develop a habit of spending time with sets. For example, there might be a set which you have never seen before. Zara sa bhi itch bhi nahi lag raha kaise start karna hai. So at that time, instead of jumping to the solution, spend half an hour just staring at the question. कुछ नहीं करना, सीलिंग को स्टेयर करना वो कर लो, कुछ भी रैंडम स्क्रिबलिंग करनी है, कुछ रैंडम आइडिया ये कर लो. तो डेवलप अ हैबिट ऑफ दिस पेशेंस वाला प्रैक्टिस कि कुछ भी नहीं स्कोर हो रहा है, कुछ भी नहीं प्रोग्रेस हो रहा है, पर स्टिल मैं बैठी हूँ उस प्रॉब्लम के साथ. सो इससे क्या होता है कि वंस यू स्टार्ट टू सॉल्व अ क्वेश्चन इन 45 to 50 minutes, तुमको वो कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्ड होगा कि ऐसा नहीं है कि मुझे आता नहीं है, बस मुझे टाइम लगता है. तो इन सम मॉक्स अ सिचुएशन विल अराइज कि यू कमिट योरसेल्फ टू अ सिंगल सेट. अब वो हो नहीं रहा है, पर ये वाली जो चीज थी हमारी कि 45-50 मिनट्स में हमने प्रैक्टिस की थी, इससे एटलीस्ट हमें कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा कि हाँ टाइम लगेगा बट मैं कर लूंगी ये चीज. एक सेट हो जाए बहुत है, और एक सेट भी DLR में हो जाना इज अ बिग थिंग. यू विल सी मेनी पीपल हु have 99.5, 99.6 percentile and they couldn't clear the DLR cutoff. Because DLR is like that. So spend time with the question. ऐसा jump मत करो solutions पे. Or one more thing that helped me was that for the questions that you had to see the solution, उनको keep them starred. 1 month आगे या फिर few weeks ahead, go forward and do those same questions again and time yourself this time. बिकॉज अगर कोई तुमने लॉजिक एक बार देख लिया तो अब ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि अब इस बार वो मिस हो जाए. कोई नया लॉजिक आ गया नहीं समझ में आया, दैट इज फाइन. पर एक बार जो सॉल्यूशन देख लिया, एक बार जो प्रैक्टिस हो चुकी है, दैट शुड नॉट गो मिस्ड. तो इसके लिए do those sets which you couldn't do in the first place and time them. मतलब ये this might feel a bit counter intuitive to you कि same sets दोबारा करने से क्या होगा, पर उससे muscle memory build होती है. And like especially quant and DLR is a lot about muscle memory. So yeah, तो वही practice करो and फिर second thing is कि repeat करो वो sets. And third is कि अब DLR में you have to do that thing कि you have to skim strategy ऐसी. I used to use this strategy that starting 5-6 minutes में I would go through all the sets का content. Sorry, the setup. अब जो setup ही मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा था वो तो I was very happy with them क्योंकि सोचना नहीं मुझे, वो तो सीधा आउट हो गया, मुझे 3 में से चूज करना है बस. So yeah, go through all the sets, order them in like what difficulty level you find them. Some sets would be familiar, some would be familiar, but you would know that कि हाँ ये difficult time में time लगता है. For example, like if you have started doing last year के CAT PYQs, you would find like metro वाला set है. It is easy set जहाँ पे time निकालना है from one station to another, but it is very time consuming. So familiarity and complexity, ये 2 variables हैं on which you have to judge the sets. Familiar and low complexity is what you would be banging the first door for. So हाँ, बस DLR is वही rinse and repeat. Then you would probably get to those fancy 3-setter or 4-setter scores. But like even like I also could do just 2 sets in the final exam. I have 27 score in DLR, and for the first 20 minutes I had made no headway. So 0 things marked on the sheet and half the time was done. So वहाँ पे this mocks वाला experience help कि हाँ you have been through these situations wherein last के 15 minutes में you could create something out of the blue, something out of nowhere. So वो वाली चीज gives you a bit confidence. And हाँ, the earlier वाला thing which I mentioned कि 40 minutes में जो तुम एक set कर रहे हो, that also gives you confidence here कि ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे आता नहीं है, बस मुझे time लगेगा. So this is a very big confidence booster. So these are the broad outlines of DLR, and I'll happy to take any questions you have.
Hi Mayank, this is
Hi, Manasi.
Manasi. So I am preparing for GMAT. So the strategy to prepare for GMAT should be same as CAT or it should be different?
Sorry Manasi, I don't have much idea about GMAT, but
Okay.
what I've heard from my peers is that their critical reasoning section, the first section, the English section needs a bit practice, a much more practice. But the thing is, GMAT is a very standardized exam. If you go through that OG book they have and go through the critical RCs of that, then you would be good to go in terms of how the traps are set and how they go about confusing people. And I think quant would be like much easier in GMAT. And again, since it is standardized, you would know what formulas to target and what areas to specifically master. But yeah, I'm not the correct person to guide you about that.
Thank you.
No issues.
Sorry,
Hello.
I have a question.
Hello.
Yeah, Vipul, go ahead.
Mayank, looking at the sections, if you really think the CAT 2024 will be having more quant difficulty or more it will be, I think, going for more difficulty in the verbal or DLR?
I mean, I have no clue, honestly. There is absolutely no trends whatsoever because the IIM campus that makes this exam has the whole liberty to create as complicated or as easy as exam they want. For example, 2017 CAT was created by Lucknow and 2023 was also created by Lucknow, and you would find like no correlation between these two things. The quant was pretty easy in 2017, and 23 was pretty hectic. And again, 2022 quant was very easy, and DLR was also very easy. So, I mean, best not to engage your energies in the aspects that you cannot change. Just try to do your best in each of these sections, and yeah, and leave the rest. And one thing is, like, if you're a non-engineer, then you should celebrate if the paper is difficult. You'll see that later in the process when GDP and the further rounds come along. So easy exam is good for engineers, and a difficult CAT is good for non-engineers.
Why so? Why you're saying that it would be like that?
Because when the CAT is difficult, then overall scores fall down of everybody. And the way cumulative scores are computed, they are not computed based on the percentile. They are computed based on the actual scores. So when actual scores are less, then the other aspects, for example, the academic diversity or the other 10th, 12th marks, those come into play. For example, there's an academic diversity in almost all of the IIMs where you would get 5 extra or 10 extra marks for being a non-engineer. So those compared to your CAT score would increase a lot. I mean, these are things that do not concern you right now. All of you should just focus on giving your best at CAT. And just leave the rest.
So Mayank, this is Anand here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask here, like, you are going into which IIM?
So I'm going to Ahmedabad.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm going next week, so I have 1 week to chill at home. So I'll jump to the quant section then. This was quite a traumatic disaster for some people, because people were used to finding shortcuts and going ahead with jugards and things like that, and not focusing on the conceptual clarity. So I think what this, like, the biggest takeaway for me was in this quant section, in 2023 quant section, your concepts had to be quite clear. There was no escaping by option elimination or things like that. So I'll again start with the broad pointers in quant. First thing is, like I mentioned, concepts are king. You cannot escape understanding the concepts and just slither your way through the rest. Second point. So second point is, no topic is inherently easy or difficult. I know this notion is there that which topic was that? Arithmetic ya kuch kar lo, and half of the section would be sorted. Yeah, algebra kar lo and leave number theory or geometry or whatever. So thing is that there will be extremely, I agree on a overall level, arithmetic is easier than geometry or number theory. But you will find questions that are very difficult in TSD, for example, time, speed, distance. And there will be some questions that are very easy from the geometry part. For example, they'll give a simple circle and a diameter will be given and they'll ask you to compute some angles. So इनको हम colloquially ऐसे बोलते हैं sitters. We can't afford to lose sitters. कि अगर कोई simple सा question आ गया and we miss it just because we had a prejudice against this particular topic. So that is unfortunate and that should be not done. So basic level of understanding of each and every topic should be there. उसके ऊपर you build on your strengths and weaknesses by your mock feedback. I mean, for someone, arithmetic could be difficult. Like नहीं समझ में आ रहा कि दो relative आमने सामने से आ रहे हैं, कैसे निकालना है. And that person would probably have a good visual understanding and visual memory, and geometry सारा he would score nicely. So I don't know what the proportion of questions in each section was this year, पर I think थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे हुआ ही है. Algebra I think थोड़ा ज़्यादा आया था. Arithmetic I think थोड़ा कम हो गया था, and it was a bit difficult too as well. So the crux of this point is कि have a basic understanding of all the topics and do not leave anything just because कि वो पूछते नहीं है या फिर आता नहीं है. So this thing. Next thing is train your mind to do intelligent guessing. जैसे कि अब मैंने स्टार्टिंग में बोला था कि इंटेलिजेंट गेसिंग वाज प्रोबब्ली डिफिकल्ट दिस टाइम, पर इट डजंट मीन दैट यू शुड नॉट डू दैट. Any अगर whenever you are giving a mock and you come across a question which you cannot do, और ऐसा topic से है which of which conceptual understanding is missing on your end, still try to do something. ऐसा करो कि हाँ कुछ ऑप्शन तो दिखने से ही लगता है बेकार, कि कोई सेंस ही नहीं है. तो इस टाइप के इंटेलिजेंट गेसिंग, ऑप्शन पुटिंग, कोई अगर अलजेब्रा का क्वेश्चन है तो क्या f(0) f(1) डाल के कुछ आ सकता है या नहीं, कोई टाइम सीरीज डिस्टेंस का क्वेश्चन है उसमें हमने कुछ एजम्पशन सिंप्लीफाई करके देखी, उससे कुछ आया कि नहीं. तो इस टाइप की जो गेस वर्क है, जो मतलब गेस वर्क नहीं, इंटेलिजेंट गेस वर्क है, वो यू मस्ट प्रैक्टिस. सो दिस थिंग, और मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग कि अपनी ईगो को प्लीज वी हैव टू कीप असाइड. वी कैन नॉट अफोर्ड टू गेट इमोशनली अटैच्ड टू एनी क्वेश्चन. I know a person who spent the first 12 to 13 minutes on the first question क्योंकि वो TSD का था, and he used to be like हाँ मैं तो TSD कर ही लूंगा, किंग हूँ मैं TSD का. तो things like that happen. हो सकता है the topic that you love उससे एक difficult question आ जाए. So have that humility to step aside, give your respect to the question and move on. किसी से भी emotionally attached नहीं होना. This extends to DILR as well. वहाँ पे भी there might be a easy looking set कि हाँ सेट थ्योरी का क्वेश्चन है, 3-4 वेन डायग्राम बना के आ जाएगा, पर समटाइम्स देयर आर कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज जिसकी वजह से यू माइट गेट ब्लॉक्ड इन बिटवीन. तो हैव दैट ह्यूमिलिटी टू स्टेप असाइड, गिव योर रिस्पेक्ट एंड देन मूव ऑन. सो या आई थिंक these are the broad outlines that help me in quant, and I guess they would help you as well. I'll be happy to take any questions.
If you guys have any more questions, you can type in the chat box.
Yeah, or you can just unmute and ask.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Priya.
So actually, I wanted to know what was your strategy for the last 6 months for the CAT.
So thing was, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. You guys have almost 6 months right now. I had just 2 months. So for me, the preparation was just go do the mocks and then analyze them. So I'll just give this one tidbit which helped me a lot in analyzing it. Create 2 broad categories of each single question. हर क्वेश्चन पे you have to mark whether this question was conceptually clear to you or not. ठीक है, 2 बिग वो हो गया डिविजन्स कि कंसेप्ट आता था या फिर नहीं आता था. अब अगर कॉन्सेप्ट आता था तो क्या वो क्वेश्चन सही हुआ या फिर गलत हुआ. अगर कॉन्सेप्ट आता था और क्वेश्चन सही हुआ तो गो एंड चेक कि और कोई एफिशिएंट तरीका है करने का. डिड इट टेक मी मोर टाइम देन इट रिक्वायर्ड, कि अगर कोई 1 मिनट का तरीका था और मुझे 3 या 3.5 मिनट्स लग गए तो मे बी आई कैन लर्न समथिंग न्यू. तो इस तरह देखना है. और सेकंड कैटेगरी, कॉन्सेप्ट आता था बट क्वेश्चन गलत हो गया. अब दिस इज अ ब्लंडर. यहाँ पे सब रेड फ्लैग्स क्रिएट हो जाने चाहिए कि क्या दिक्कत होगी, क्या कोई सिली मिस्टेक थी या फिर कंसेप्चुअली क्लैरिटी अपेरेंटली नहीं थी. तो ये इस वाला जो कैटेगरी है इसको एकदम शार्पली एनालाइज करना है कि ये कैसे गलत हो गया. ऐसे दिल पे चोट लगनी चाहिए इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन से कि ये वाला कैसे गलत हो गया. सेकेंड ब्रॉड कैटेगरी जो कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी नहीं थी जिन क्वेश्चंस की, वहां पे भी 2 कैटेगरीज आएंगी कि या तो करेक्ट हुआ या फिर इनकरेक्ट हुआ. अब करेक्ट हुआ तो मतलब आपने कुछ इंटेलिजेंट गेसिंग की थी वहां, तो चेक कि व्हाई डिड दैट गेस वर्क और कैन इट बी एक्सटेंडेड टू फ्यूचर क्वेश्चंस ऑफ दिस टाइप, और इफ इट डिड नॉट वर्क व्हाई डिड इट नॉट वर्क. ठीक है, इस तरह देखने. और लास्ट कैटेगरी कि कॉन्सेप्ट भी नहीं आता था और गलत भी हो गया. तो दिस इज अ टॉपिक विच शुड बी स्टडीड if it's a subsection of the topics that you wish to cover. For example, कुछ लोग होते हैं नंबर थ्योरी आया नहीं आता था, मार्क भी नहीं किया, गलत भी हो गया, तो फिर भी नहीं देखेंगे. तो इट इज अप टू यू. इफ आई वुड बी इन योर केस आई वुड सी एटलीस्ट द बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट कि अगर कुछ बेसिक्स था जो कि कवर हो सकता था तो आई विल कवर दैट. तो या लास्ट 2 months रिंस एंड रिपीट, मॉक्स दो, मॉक्स एनालाइज करो, एंड नेक्स्ट डे हमारी 4 चारों कैटेगरी जो भी मेंशन की उनको इंडिविजुअली देखो, and then next mock.
Yeah, but just like you mentioned about UPSC also, so there is the section for the in the prelims there is CSAT, so it actually helped the CAT also, as far as I can relate it.
Yeah, I mean UPSC last year was like a nightmare. So that's why I had only 2 months, because I had to give mains in September or October or September, I think, and October, November I had. But CSAT is a bit different from CAT. CSAT is quite easier, and CSAT had more punching on the quants aspect. उन्होंने काफी नंबर थ्योरी खींच दिया था. पर वहाँ CSAT में थिंग इज कि ओनली 33% लाना है, तो कोई पढ़ता ही नहीं है कुछ उसके लिए. सो अलग स्टोरी है.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. This is Yash Agarwal here.
Hi, Yash.
Sir, what about you have mentioned the whole thing about the intelligence of the mind, but what about emotions when we come to the exam and we share the paper and we can say the environment of the whole, and we get some nervousness, some hectic pressure on the mind? What can we do in this situation? Means I been sometimes very hard in this situation. Means I can't handle some nervousness and I can hear my heartbeat also. So what can I do in this situation?
Very important question, Yash. I mean, this is, I think, having a control on your emotions takes a lifetime of practice of meditation and things like that. But यहाँ पे we can have some basic things which as a routine help us to calm ourselves down. For example, no matter कौन सा mock है या कोई actual exam है कुछ भी है, I used to give a minute to myself in the instruction reading wala section, and I used to just think nothing and have those deep long breaths and just not think about anything else. बस अपना breathe in करो, breathe out करो for 1 whole minute. And this should be a matter of practice, क्योंकि वहाँ कैट में जब जाओगे वहाँ पे डर लगेगा, क्योंकि सडनली यू आर सीइंग सो मेनी स्टूडेंट्स बैठे हैं, इतना स्ट्रिक्ट चेकिंग हो रही है, क्यू लगी पड़ी है. सो that wouldn't be as comfortable a place as your home right now जैसे तुम दे रहे हो. तो अगर तुमने पहले से प्रैक्टिस की इस चीज की कि वो स्टार्टिंग में अपना 1-2 मिनट दे रहे हो खुद को, तो इट हेल्प्स काम योर नर्व्स डाउन. और बाकी मैं आई मीन दिस वुड स्टार्ट टू बिकम अ थेरेपी सेशन फिर, क्योंकि देयर इज अ इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग कॉल्ड सेल्फ टॉक. यू शुड मॉनिटर व्हाट लैंग्वेज यू यूज व्हाइल टॉकिंग टू योरसेल्फ. जैसे कि कोई अगर क्वेश्चन नहीं हो रहा है, क्योंकि इट्स पॉसिबल कि हाँ कैट स्टार्ट हुआ, वीआरसी स्टार्ट हुआ और नहीं समझ में आ रहा पहला आरसी. आई रिमेंबर कि मैं गया था और मैं प्रोसेस ही नहीं कर पा रहा था क्या लिखा है 2-3 लाइनों में स्टार्टिंग में, ऐसे इतना हेजी लगता है. उस टाइम पे इफ योर सेल्फ टॉक टेल्स यू दैट अरे गया तेरा कैट, नेक्स्ट ईयर देगा अब सीधा, 1 साल पूरा गैप हो जाएगा, अगर ये सब बातें स्टार्ट हो गई तो दैट वुड मैनिफेस्ट इटसेल्फ. योर बॉडी वुड एक्ट अगेंस्ट योर माइंड एंड देन होल केओस वुड हैपन. उस टाइम पे एम्पैथी टुवर्ड्स योरसेल्फ इज इंपॉर्टेंट, कि वहां पे बोलना है ठीक है अगर मैंने 7-8 मिनट इस वाले आरसी में खराब भी कर दिए तो इट इज फाइन, कोई इशू नहीं है. सो बी अ बिट कंपैशनेट एंड एम्पैथिक टू योरसेल्फ. डिफिकल्ट है तो सबके लिए है, सिर्फ मेरे लिए नहीं है. और डिफरेंस ये है कि मैं डरूंगा नहीं, बाकी लोग डर जाएंगे. तो इस टाइप की पॉजिटिव सेल्फ टॉक इसको मॉक्स से ही बिल्ड करना स्टार्ट करो, और दिस हेल्प्स इन जनरल लाइफ एज वेल. जब भी कुछ इशू आएगा, जब भी देयर विल बी अ टाइम ऑफ एंजाइटी, you would start talking to yourself, and the language that you use really matters.
Yeah, thank you for this thing. And you mentioned one more thing is about the EONSs. So I have been reading since January, but till now I didn't understand the word. Means sometime it's very big. It's like 4,000 word. It has 4,500 words. And at the in the mid of the passage and in the I have done the 70% of the passage. When I come to it, I think like it's very big and I get some headache and some, it's very fuzzy thing means to mention. And miss, what can we do in this situation where it's very big? How to compress it? How to understand? How to get interest in this passage? How can we make it?
Why I think I covered this. Engage yourself in dialogue with the author. जैसे कुछ अगर ऑथर कुछ बोल रहा है तो पूछो ये चीज कि ऑथर तुम मेरा टाइम क्यों ले रहे हो, क्या पॉइंट क्या तुम्हारा, क्यों तुमने ये पिछले 3 लाइनें लिखी हैं. जैसे पैराग्राफ खत्म हुआ उस पॉइंट पे 5 सेकंड रुकना है और इवेलुएट करना है कि ये वाला पैराग्राफ में मैंने क्या पढ़ा. ऐसा मत सोचो कि टाइमर ऑन है और फर्स्ट वर्ड से रेस लगा रहा हूँ मैं कैसे लास्ट वर्ड तक पहुंच जाऊंगा. नहीं, एक फ्री फ्लोइंग कॉन्वर्सेशन है. ट्रस्ट मी, ऑथर टेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ पेन टू एंगेज यू. वो तुमको 10 मिनट्स लग रहा है पढ़ने में, उसको 1 और 1.5 आवर लगा है वो लिखने में, तो ही और शी हैज पुट इन दोज एफर्ट्स. तो अगर तुम वही एंगेज करोगे उसके साथ तो इट वुड बी not so boring and tiring.
Yeah, sometimes it's come some guides. So guides is very interesting. Sometimes it's come history. I love history, so I am very interested in history. But sometimes it comes like economics. Sometimes it's come like autobiographies. So at this time they mention some data, some other theories. So we can't understand, and as well as we can't get it through, like understand the main thing, understanding words, some vocabulary part also. So it's a very difficult thing to me. I mean, how you control the whole thing, you make it very easy for you. What was your approach behind towards it?
So that is so like अगर कोई 100 वर्ड का पैराग्राफ है और उसमें खूब सारा डेटा दिया हुआ है, तो जो इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होगी ना, वो स्टार्टिंग की 2 लाइन होंगी और डेटा इज देयर टू सपोर्ट द ऑथर्स आर्ग्यूमेंट। और तुमको वो डेटा याद नहीं रखना है, डेटा का कोई सिग्निफिकेंस नहीं है। जो ओरिजिनल पॉइंट था ना ऑथर का, कि ऑथर ने बोला है कि इकोनॉमिक्स है, जैसे कि ऑथर समझा रहा है कि बीजेपी की कंटिन्यूटी अगर रही है तो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ पॉसिबल है, तो अब वो डेटा देगा कि जीएसटी में रिफॉर्म्स आए हैं, आईबीसी में रिफॉर्म्स आए हैं, एंड नहीं पता होगा तुम्हें आईबीसी क्या है, या फिर वो बोलेगा कि जीडीपी ग्रोथ ऐसे ऐसे इंक्रीज हुई है, कोविड के बाद में देयर वाज अ बेस इफेक्ट या व्हाटएवर। तो ये जो भी चीजें हैं, दीज आर ऑल जस्ट सपोर्टिंग थिंग्स टू मेंशन द ओरिजिनल पॉइंट कि हाँ, अगर गवर्नमेंट में कंटिन्यूटी रही है तो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ के लिए अच्छा है। दैट इज व्हाट यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन। तो जो इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हैं वो कैच करना प्रैक्टिस है, और वो चीज आएगी कॉन्शियस प्रैक्टिस से कि तुम एक पैराग्राफ पढ़ के बैठे हो, अब तुम सोच रहे हो कि हाँ इसमें सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज क्या थी, अगर सिर्फ एक लाइन मुझे हाईलाइट करनी होती तो वो कौन सी होती। थिंक लाइक दिस।
Okay, got it. Thank you.
वोकैबुलरी एंड डेटा, ऑल ऑफ इट इज सेकेंडरी। कैट में वो सब इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है।
Yeah.
ये पता है, वन थिंग आई लाइक टू हाईलाइट हियर इज कि व्हाई डू वी डू वीआरसी, क्यों ये सेक्शन है कैट में। सो वंस यू स्टार्ट डूइंग एमबीए, वहां पे देयर इज वन, मोस्ट ऑफ द आईएम्स में देयर इज केस स्टडी ड्रिवन पेडागोगी। सो व्हाट दैट मींस इज कि कोई मार्केटिंग की क्लास है तो दे वुड पिक अ केस स्टडी कि एप्पल ने 2007 में जब आईफोन लॉन्च किया था तब स्टीव जॉब्स क्या कर रहा था, तब कॉम्पिटिटर्स थे जो भी मार्केट में वो क्या कर रहे थे। तो ऐसी 20 पेज की केस स्टडी आएगी जो तुमको क्लास से पहले पढ़नी होगी। सो वहां पे टास्क इज दैट 1.5 आवर्स में यू हैव टू रीड दैट 20 पेज केस स्टडी एंड एक्सट्रैक्ट द रेलिवेंट इंपॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन आउट ऑफ इट। तो इस चीज की प्रैक्टिस के लिए वो वीआरसी है। तो होल थिंग इज जस्ट कैचिंग द जिस्ट एंड then having that logical reasoning to say कि हाँ which supports the argument or which contradicts the argument. So VRC is actually more of logical reasoning. Vocabulary वाली चीज तो you'll never find. कभी वो ऐसे एक वर्ड उठा के नहीं पूछेगा कि इसका क्या मतलब है।
Yeah, got it. Thank you for your information. Thank you for helping me.
No issues.